Hey everyone, Tuto back with another Spiral video, this time with a deck tech and a deck that I actually played in a tournament. I played this to a top 8 of the GGToor $500 bi-weekly tournament, and this is a pretty solid version of the deck. It's a Smoke Grenade list. Even though a Wardon's gone, for the most part, we can still summon it with without Halqifibrax, but it's not as good. Even with that gone, we could still access Smoke Grenade because we're a deck with Warriors in it. Helix and Super Agent very easily summon a Soul Day, and a Soul Day can send a Smoke Grenade to summon your tuner that you want to get for your Omni Negate regardless. So this kind of like is an inherent bit of synergy. The fun thing about this deck is you don't even need Roland. The typical Infernoble Knight line would go through like you'd have a Jet Seeker on Super Agent to make Roland, and then you'd summon back Super Agent and make Charles with Roland. But because Master Plan is a 7, and because we're not kind of beholden to running Jet Seeker on with Halk anymore, because that was just like the most efficient thing to do, we can access Plague Spreader Zombie. Plague Spreader Zombie plus Master Plan, 2 plus 7, makes a 9 for Charles. And because Isolde already sends Smoke Grenade as part of her effect to summon your attack gainer, there's like a bit of inherent synergy where you don't even need to run the weird Roland stuff. You do lose out on Roland equipping to Charles to give you a pop, but we already run Sleeper, so you don't really need that pop as much as you need the Hand Rip, and the Hand Rip is the most powerful part of the effect. So yeah, here we are. This is pretty much my typical Danger Small World list. The only funny inclusions outside of that is you'll notice is one, obviously I have the second quick fix because he's been semi-limited, which is great. Two, I'm running a second Big Red. This isn't so bad in the abstract just because Big Red just combos with Souls anyhow, so you know, Small World for Souls or Souls hard draw plus Big Red, still pretty good. The important thing about running a second Big Red really though is one, Soul Day, sometimes you draw your Smoke Grenade and you still need to search out a Big Red with Quick Fix to do your combo. In those instances, you still need another equipped spell in the main deck to sim with a Soul Day so you can summon your attack gainer, which is your tuner. So you have to have this extra Big Red in there as like a backup. The same reason we run two Master Plans, right? Because if you draw something, you still need the other one in the deck typically for your magician solves. Secondly, it's pretty good with a second quick fix on turn 3 or whatever. If you still have a resort active, you can search your second quick fix, normal summon, you get another big red back at Helix. Just really powerful follow-up plays. The other odd thing is I'm running Mothman instead of Pankratops. The reason because of that is I'm running Tough. Tough is just a free add off of Isolde, because the card that Isolde automatically searches when she's link summoned can't really be used that turn. So you need a card that's only going to be good on turn 3, and Tough is like the best turn 3 card in your entire engine, in your entire concept archetype, I guess. It's with because you can't summon it on the first turn, which is fine because who needs it on turn 1? But turn 3, normal summoning a Tough is great. And the fun thing is that Mothman searches for Tough, whereas through all of your dangers and such, whereas Pankratops didn't. Mothman also searches Plague Spreader Zombie, which Pankratops didn't, but you know, all the dangers would search Plague Spreader because it's a dark monster with no other similarities, so that's not that big a deal. A fun, interesting bit of synergy is that Plague Spreader is worse than Jet Synchron, obviously, because discarding a rescue mission is way better than having to put a card from your hand on back of your deck, on top of your deck. That's not such a big deal. When you're already going into a Soul Day plays, even if you've spent most of your hand to get your combo off, a Soul Day is going to add a free Tough to your hand, and you can just Plague Spreader back the Tough, so it works out regardless. Secondly, and very, very importantly in this concept that I devised, is that Attack Gainer is a hard garnet. Unlike Jet Synchron in the past, unlike Destrudo in the past, you can't just use it in the midst of a combo if you draw it. To summon this guy, he has to be in the deck for a Soul Day to summon. It's a hard garnet in that sense. And the fun thing about Plague Spreader is Plague Spreader can put a hard garnet in your hand back on top of your deck to summon with a Soul Day in the instance of Attack Gainer. So what happens is if you draw Attack Gainer, but you can still kind of combo off, you just go into Curious first. And because you've already drawn your Attack Gainer, you don't care about milling anything else. You typically go through your full Spiral line before Curious. You've searched all of your Spiral cards that you worry about milling. And so the cards you mill don't matter. And then you put Plague Spreader in the graveyard, put the Attack Gainer back on top of your deck, and then summon a Soul Day and summon Attack Gainer. So there's like a bit of fun synergy of getting around garnets. Importantly, in the future, when we do get Illusion of Chaos, cards that are hard garnets like Attack Gainer aren't that big a deal because you'll just a very large amount of the time have access to Illusion of Chaos to shuffle them back. So you might be able to do a different plays than the Plague Spreader Zombie setup. And that's pretty much it. The only other thing of interest is I am running a Codebreaker package with, you know, the 0 Day, which is kind of a brick, and, you know, bricks suck, but you got to run it. The reason is Helix and Super Agent is the way you typically get into your Soul Day. But without, sometimes you just can't search Super Agent. You know, you always get into Helix, but sometimes you have to choose between Sleeper and Super Agent, and that sucks because Sleeper is your on-board interaction for cards like Zodiacs, who can go into Zeus if you don't play right. It doesn't really matter what your other plays are if they can get into a Zeus with like 6 materials. So you still need your pop, but you can't search your super agent. Well, in those instances, you'll probably go into a Selene, and Selene can summon back Master Plan. You can turn Master Plan plus like a leftover creature into your Codebreaker lines, and the Codebreakers are all Dark Warriors, which means one, they can make a Solde, and two, they're very good for making Curious, because none of your other Dark monsters tend to be Warriors. If you have a spare Dullahan and a spare Quick Fix, Link Kribo plus Dullahan plus the leftover Codebreaker you didn't turn to a Solde will make Curious to get into your Plague Spreader. So it all works out pretty effectively in that way. And yeah, so that's the list. I want to show you like the basic combo line in a solo mode game. So let's go ahead and get to that. Alright, so here you are in a game against the solo mode by the Monarch one, and we got the full combo here, so let's just go ahead and get it started. So this particular version of the deck, I'm not saying is the best version to play. There's so many variations that are different for the meta calls or whatever. With Halqa not centralizing the format or the power curve of the deck, you can basically do a whole lot of different things. The reason I know this deck, have this deck, and have run this deck is I was running it in a best of 3 tournament, and I think when your opponent can side deck in cards like Forbidden Droplets, like Dark Ruler No More, or Lava Golems and Sphere Modes and stuff, having a card that rips a card out of their hand on top of drones stacking their card is probably the best way to go about not getting blown out by sideboard cards going first. That said, most people are going to be playing in ranked, right? So our stuff like Smoke Grenade isn't quite as good as it would be in a best of 3, so maybe this isn't going to be the best version for you, but if you are interested in doing Smoke Grenade shenanigans, then here we go. So I'm just doing the regular Souls Quick Fix combo here, nothing crazy. Hopefully I don't draw anything that messes me up off of this Souls draw, but this is what you would do. Oh yeah, okay, this is fine. So I'm just going to pretend I didn't search this Assault later. We'll get to that in a second. So you'll still do the regular Link Kribo stuff. Just get you another Dark Monster in rotation. And we will discard a random card off of War Blocker here because you're not guaranteed to have this Assault mission in hand, right? So we'll go ahead and do this. Discard Master. Do Master first. Borg Chain Link 2. And we'll just like discard a Small World because whatever. Doesn't matter. Wish I could speed this up in gameplay, but I'm doing these in solo mode because it's just a little easier to get the combo set up. And I don't have to like worry about interactions and doing 50 games to get a replay. Because half the time, if I do start doing my combo, my opponent quits before I'm done. So that's life. So with a Master Plan, I search out Agent, search out Resort. Resort gets Sleeper. The deal. Got the Rescue Mission engraved from the beginning, so we'll use that now. Alright, so at this point in the combo, you would use Master Plan to search the Assault mission. Obviously, I've drawn the Assault mission. If you were in this position, you would add an extra rescue. There's no reason not to, but for the purposes of this video and the tutorial, I'm not going to use the Assault here. I'm not going to search anything here because I would have searched Assault. So we'll go ahead and go into Helix. And we'll discard Assault with Quick Fix. Summon Quick Fix. Use Quick Fix to go search Drone. And we'll Assault in Drone. Yeah, this if you've seen the previous videos, like this is the core Spyral line. This is the most linear part of the deck once you start doing this kind of stuff. And the non-linear part is getting to here in different hands. So put a trap on top because traps are bad. We'll activate Helix. Call Trap. And get Master Plan. And now we'll search the extra mission. It's up to discard off Quick Fix. So go here, do your Xyz play. Activate this. Discard Quick Fix. Or detach Quick Fix, I guess. Doesn't matter what you decrease his attack. Use Quick Fix. Discard Rescue Mission. Summon Quick Fix. And get your last gear that you will need, which is Last Resort. So at this point, you want to go into a Assault before Curious because you don't want to accidentally mill your attack gainer. That's obviously bad. So we'll just do that now. Activate Effect. Call Trap. Special Summon Assault by using these two warriors. And also send smoke grenade. We'll add tough first, obviously. So add tough. Then use her effect to send smoke grenade. And summon attack gainer. And at this point, now you can go and do your cures. There's no issue at this point. So we'll use Link Reba, because why not? If you wanted to, you could Celine here. I think I've got you obviously have the spells in graveyard just to get another Master Plan summon, but it's not really gonna do much. I mean, what we can do, like, it doesn't really do anything. You'd have to like use a rescue mission to do anything quirky, and that's not really worth it. So we'll just go ahead and go to Curious. Curious's effect. Do send Plague a Spreader Zombie. And we also milled some dangers, whatever. Alright, so at this point you can go ahead and start building your board. We'll summon Appaloosa with a Solday. Well, I mean, there's actually not a whole lot stopping, but yeah, we'll just go to a Solday. No big deal. We want to get the Curious in graveyard. Oop, did the wrong way. Gotta make Curious the multi-material. 3 and 1. Please summon your Appaloosa. Go ahead and make your Borload Savage Dragon now that you have Curious in the graveyard. Attack gainer triggers but doesn't actually do anything because there's no monster on your opponent's side of the board. I have used that a couple of times when I was testing out the deck on going second, because like I got into Borload Savage Dragon incidentally, but it's not very pointful. It's the only reason you run is he's a level 1 tuner. There's a couple other level 1 warrior tuners. I just happened to have this one because I was using it also for Naturia Beast setups. So we'll go ahead and activate Rescue Mission. So the Master Plan. Go ahead and get one final Rescue Mission out of our deck. And the fun thing about this is you have so much more follow-up going third, I guess, on turn 3 with this deck. So I'm going to activate Plague Spreader Zombie here. Now, you can return either Tough or Rescue Mission, which you will have in your hand at this point in the game, right? There's no reason not to. But so if I was only using cards I had in hand that I've used in the combo, I would send back Tough because Tough's not necessary, and we get Spyral Resort for him later. But if you have a hand like mine, you'll probably send something back like a Tsuchinoka, or maybe a Master Plan so your souls aren't dead. And we'll summon Plague Spreader Zombie and we can make Charles. So we got an Omni Negate, 2 Monster Negates, a Hand Rip, as soon as this is done. And we can go ahead and banish the cards we don't care about. I don't really care about... I use Barricade Board Blocker, but I could get that Resort back, but I'd rather have the Helix in Graveyard for a Quick Fix next turn, because I can search Quick Fix with Spyral Resort. The +1 doesn't matter that much. Important, don't accidentally trigger your Charles when you equip Last Resort, because then you have to pop a card on your field. Not very smart, so we can go ahead and set this rescue. So, yeah, so we're going to end our turn. We're going to trigger Charles. Of course, use his effect to equip Smoke Grenade. Use Charles' effect. Let's turn this on. To pop Smoke Grenade. And look at your opponent's hand and discard a card. Confiscation, pretty good. Now, obviously, this is a computer. Doesn't, you know... Their decks aren't very good, so what I'm doing isn't that big a deal. But I've got an Ash extra. I use my Spyral Resort to put back a... Let's see what's good. Probably Jackalope. Jackalope's most generic. Well, yeah, I've got Rescue Set, so I don't really want to turn my Spiral cards because I can just add them to my hand over the course of 2 turns. And basically what you're doing is you have... your board obviously isn't as powerful as it's been in the past with Halqifibrax. With Halqifibrax and Auroradon setups and whatnot, I could obviously have this entire board plus another Omni Negate. I could like Halq into, or I could set up something with Jet Synchron. I could have like a Barone or a Dragite or something like that. Or I could keep my Halq around and go into a Barone to floor with Desert Locust. So your board was a little more powerful, but it had a little bit more resource requirement. So I've got this extra rescue mission hanging around that I didn't have to use because I didn't need it because it's not core to the combo. You just end up searching it extra, and that's really, really good for surviving board breaking tools. Like if your opponent super polys you and starts doing stuff, like I can activate this rescue right now add drone to my hand. Then on my next turn, oh, yeah, if your opponent doesn't out your board for some stupid reason, you can Charles multiple times, which is very funny. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind. It doesn't come up very often because normally if the game's gone past this point, they've broken your board, or they'll concede. All right, so here we are, and you can just use Rescue Mission again. This is the fun thing about Spyral is look at all these cards I get to add to my hand now. Rescue Mission, add Super Agent, Resort, add Quick Fix. This is why Spyral actually has a history as a control deck. You just add so many cards. Once you actually have a powerful engine to back up these +1s in the form of Resort and Rescue, you have like a turn 1 board that can actually compete in the meta. You actually have a better grind game than most decks. Like Sky Striker in its current form doesn't add as many cards to its hand as you do. It just does not, as long as you have these cards in rotation. So yeah, that's the combo. And as you can see, I've got a grip full of cards, and I can even add more because I could summon Quick Fix, get Big Red, use Super Agent, Big Red's Helix to start summoning tons of monsters. I have so much follow-up in this version of the deck compared to other ones. So it's a little bit better at grinding because you're not going all in on Halqifibrax plays to make a better board, but your boards are a little weaker. But Smoke Grenade's pretty good if you're ever going to find yourself in a best of 3. So that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any versions of the deck you want me to run, go ahead and throw them in the comments. I'm going to say right now I'm probably going to try out the Samorg variants. I'm going to show you an anti-spell fragrance version with a Nightmare Griffin as the primary payoff as opposed to like Synchro plays. And maybe if you guys beg me enough, I'll do a Trigate video, but I hate Trigate, so no promises on that one. And I probably will eventually try out an Orcus variation, though I'm not that high on it right now. See you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.